That's pretty good. Yeah, it's
Kind
pretty
of
good tea.
tea is it?
Oh, we're starting with that. First of all, welcome to Spirit Cafe Sessions, everyone, with just Nikki.
Thank Kim still.
Kim still.
Still can.
Still Kim. That's all right. That's just you messing up the intros is exactly what the day's been like for the both of us. So that's it's on par. It's not even Mercury
Yay.
retrograde. The tea that I'm drinking, it's actually from Silk Road. It's called sangria tea.
Oh,
Silk
yum.
Road is in Victoria, where my brother lives in BC, and I love this tea because it has one of my favorite ingredients, which is hibiscus.
Biscuits is
And
yummy.
I know, and it's got rose hips, lemongrass, cinnamon, mint, cranberry, orange peel, bergamot. I'm telling you, all of these things are my favorite things. My dog hears Kim's voice and he's already jumping because he
See?
thinks he's not allowed. You're not allowed on the podcast. Go
Hmm.
back, go lay down.
He can be.
No.
We'll do one with Amber again.
Oh my God. You want to get into Chester's brain? Chester's brain, his brain is worse than mine. Like, you know that. That's why you're laughing because you're like, ah. Okay. All right. I'll lift him up for one
He'd
second
be
just so
like,
you can
my
see.
mom makes me a show dog. And she's,
There.
hi,
Yeah.
Chester.
There
Hi,
she is.
sweetheart.
Yeah,
Hi.
there. Okay. Now you can go down now. Very good. All right. That's not going to be. All right. So this is part two, everyone, of our soulmates, twin flames, karmic relationships that we chatted about last week very quickly for our 40th episode, which we kind of had to end a little bit early. So we said we'd do a two-parter only because we knew that a lot of people were going to like this episode. A lot of people are going to want it because Kim and I get asked about this stuff all the time.
A lot. I've got a dog.
Before we continue, I did pull cards, but a little bit different. I didn't do tarot. I did the Romance Angels deck by Doreen Virtue, which is someone we will talk about at one point because she's very important when it comes to this stuff. Because very interesting story about this lady, and I love this deck. It's which is funny because I am not anti-romance, but I'm not a very romantic person. But I love absolutely love this oracle deck. So I pulled it just to see what our people need. Anyone that's tuning in, what do you need to know about your love life? What's going on? What's in the energy? And two cards came out, so I'm pulling them both, and they are, and I love them because they work well together. It's to keep an open mind
Hmm. Yep.
and give your relationship a chance. Okay, work on your partnership, and your soulmate may differ from your usual type and expectations. My only romantic soulmate definitely differed from my type and expectations. I'll tell you that. So, um, and give your relationship a chance. I like that. Why? Because for some reason, we live in a society where we are really quick to throw somebody away with one little, like one mistake. You
Fast
know what?
food, where, fast clothes, or,
What is
like
that?
stuff comes to us right away and in and out. If it's not perfect right away, it
One
goes.
mistake.
Yeah.
One mistake, and then you wonder why you're lonely. And we're not saying everyone, but this is something. It's urgency culture. You're right, Kim. It's urgency. It's oh, that one didn't work out. The next one, the next one, the next one. It's weird.
Also swiping,
Um,
swiping, right? Like it's all
oh
just
God, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I know how that happened. COVID definitely ramped that kind of stuff up. But we are very quick to be like red flag, red flag. Of course, there are some red flags that are legitly red flags, but there's a lot of times where I'm with somebody and they're talking about how they're dating someone and they say, yeah, and then he like didn't pull like open the door for me and I was like red flag and I was like, what? Yeah, I've had that once and I
because
was
we're
like,
like in the 50s. I don't know.
and I was like, that's a red flag to you? What are you watching on TikTok that's telling you that's a red flag? It's not a red flag. You can discuss it with him if it's really bothering you and he does it more than once, I guess. But there's a lot of things that we're very quick to label as toxic these days, which are not, and red flags these days, which are not. So I like that the card was give your relationship a chance because I think that I'm not saying if you know that the person is bad for you and it's abusive and there's gaslighting and manipulation, give it another chance. Absolutely not. But I am saying take a pause at times because we are human. We do tend to react instead of respond a lot of the times, especially in romantic relationships when we're triggered. And I'm telling you just right now from all the clients I have so many that definitely made very impulsive decision and then regretted it when it came to a relationship because they didn't take that pause and they didn't give something a chance and they didn't work through something that they now realized was like not even like a massive problem, but at the time it felt it, you know? That's why that saying that's like, is it going to matter in a year from now? If it is, worry about it. If you know it's not, don't even worry about it,
Well, I just
right?
think it's culture, right? Especially at this age, people don't seem to really realize that, yeah, maybe you're nervous and you're doing a couple things like that are not normal, but they're going to do it too, right? And I think personally, if someone opened a door for me, I'd be a little bit off guard. Like, you don't think I can open a door? Like, you know,
You would.
I fix my own appliances, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I can't open a door. And
Yeah.
and I understand that there is something to it, but
Hmm.
and I probably, I don't know. I just think at first it would probably make me a little bit nervous and be like, "Oh, why are you doing that?"
Yeah.
So like people just need to understand that everybody's a little bit nobody knows how to do this anymore.
No.
Like when you're
No.
older and it's not like you're in, high school and it's like, "Do you like me?" and check yes, check no, maybe, like it's
Oh, I
not like
love
that
that. It was
anymore.
so much
Right?
simpler back then.
Yeah.
Seriously. Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. We're very quick. We love to say we don't judge, but we do.
Oh, yes.
We do, and that's okay because it's human nature to judge and to But we also have to remember everybody's human, and if somebody makes a mistake, especially at the beginning of the relationship, especially if you don't know them, you're going to make mistakes too. You want them to forgive you or not?
Well, especially mistake like that, opposed to
Oh,
deciding that you're
exactly.
together and then you're like 18 other girlfriends or
No,
boyfriends,
exactly,
right?
exactly. No, I'm
It's
pretty.
respect.
It is respect, and I'm pretty sure people know the difference between actual red flags and then he didn't open the door for me. That's a red flag. Or he doesn't talk to his mom like hardly ever. That's a red flag. First of all, I have a great relationship with my mother, and I hardly talk to my mother. Okay, not a red flag.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, we're in a culture where everything is labeled like to such an insane degree, like nothing can just be. So I think that card was very interesting because yes, please do keep an open mind, and please remember people make mistakes, and you're probably going to make a mistake in a relationship, and you probably already have. Did that person forgive you? If they did, remember that, right? So I think it's very important because we are talking about an episode that, or we are talking about something in this episode that a lot of people have very strong opinions and views on, twin flames and soulmates being the two karmics as well, but um, and being with a soulmate is triggering in a completely different way than being with a twin flame. And a lot of things in a twin flame relationship can be seen as a red flag for a lot of people, and maybe they are, but it's also a lot of twin flames bring up a lot of triggers because there's a lot of trauma that has to be worked through. And if you haven't worked through that trauma, then guess what? You are going to be full of red flags for somebody.
If it's your twin flame, they're having the same. They're
Exactly.
triggered by the same stuff. So
Yeah. So one of the things we're going to talk about is this weird obsession with twin flames. I don't know why people are obsessed with it. No, I do know why, because of what social media made it become. And of course, we've all seen that documentary on Netflix. So shout out to that documentary, really great. But social media did turn twin flames into something that was supposed to be lovely and spiritual and full of love, I guess, into something that honestly was is toxic, is an excuse at times for terrible, terrible behavior, right? And forgiving this terrible and terrible behavior. And I'm not talking about them not open the door for you or not calling their mom more than once a month. I'm talking about gaslighting, manipulation, name calling, any form of abuse, anything that really pushes you beyond your limits. But they're your twin flame, according to this tarot reader and this psychic or yourself. So they have to work on their shadow side, and they'll be better after they deal with that. I'm not saying that's not true. As somebody in a connection like that, it is definitely not. It's true. Once they work on the shadow side, it's phenomenal, and the relationship is absolutely indescribable. But everybody's labeling everybody as a twin flame. Everybody thinks that they're in the twin flame at the same time. That is not how it works at all. No. So we're going to touch upon the obsession of twin flames. I thought that would be a really good one. Why soulmates can most definitely be temporary
Yep.
because you've got more than one. And they definitely are like karmics in the sense that they can come in just to teach you a lesson, and their lesson is done this lifetime with you, and then it's onward for both of you. So we'll talk about that as well. And then I do have some amazing stories about how people had eye-opening moments when it came to the loves of their lives or their soulmates or whoever it is. And also why I think the search for the one, how people are like, is he the one? Is this the one for me? Is crap. And I hate it.
But you
More
don't,
than I probably hate most things.
you hate people asking, or you hate
I hate the whole theory about the one
oh having the one?
because you don't have just one. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. You don't have just one. Absolutely, absolutely ridiculously and impossible. No. No, 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 no. So I really hate that. Anyway. But when it comes to any of these connections, any of them, soulmate, twin flames, karmics, whatever, the actual purpose of these connections, which I 100% believe, it isn't to exactly complete us, but it's to like reveal us to ourselves. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Because so often in life, we stop at one level and we don't grow for years and years and years because we're comfortable at that level, and then that's why certain things in our life start bringing us down, and why we feel emptiness, and why we feel like, we're just going with the flow, and everything is black and white, is when we get to that stage. So twin flames, karmics, soulmates, all equally important because they can stop us from staying stagnant and not growing. Right?
They can. Yeah. It's too many people. Like there's so many people are looking for the next thing, right? And
Well, that's what it is. That's what it is. And then there's those people that just keep waiting for the one, waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. Anyway, twin flames and the obsession. I really hate that social media romanticized twin flames. I really hate it because it is a beautiful, and I'll say theory because fine, but it's a beautiful theory. And it was one born and based off love and forgiveness and finding yourself. And it became so Romeo and Juliet like.
yeah.
Romeo and Juliet like. And I have met so many people who, claim they're in a twin flame. Really, and maybe they are, and one only you can know. As I've said, only you can know if you're in twin flame collective. The only problem is I find that a lot of these people, especially when they're in separation, they're holding on to this person, to this label of the twin flame, because the chaos and the turmoil and the theatrics and the drama and the tension that it brings into your life sometimes makes it feel purposeful. And sometimes it's just not. And that's the hardest thing for us to realize, is that, hey, maybe this isn't my twin flame. Maybe it's my false twin flame, as Kim called it in the last episode. Maybe it's my karmic. But I can't accept that. I realize that, but I can't accept that. Two different things. So I have to make sense of every terrible thing that happened here. Every single terrible thing. Sometimes terrible things happen just because they happen. Sometimes
Yeah.
that's what it is, right?
Yep.
Especially in relationships.
Yep.
We're human. We're
Yep.
human.
And the thing with the twin flames or whatever that you have too, Devious, um, there's so many different thoughts. There's different people. Like there's that couple that they were together and they were forcing people together. It was like that Netflix episode,
Yeah,
right? Or like
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
series. So
Oh,
people are like,
weird.
oh, so now this is bad. So, but these are people who were like predatory, um,
Yes.
and
Culty.
forcing these people together.
Hmm.
And like there was even they were I think they even forced two people together that weren't even gay, or whatever, and force them together saying, no, here you
Yep.
are, this is your twin flame, you got to be together. So it's like it's almost like putting people into like some kind of concentration camp and like, okay,
Yeah.
this is what it is. But they did that for money. They did
Oh
that
yeah, of course. Of course.
for so many
All about money.
things. And then you got other people who are, well, I'm the leading expert, and they are and here's my,
No.
here's all my
No.
stuff, and you kind of be part here, and you pay me like $8,000, like whatever. I don't think they have those, but
I've
I'm
seen
sure
that.
there is somebody who wants that money.
No.
um
I've seen those on TikTok. Nobody's an expert on twin flames. Do not go on TikTok or the YouTube or whatever you go on, and do not pay an expert. I'm saying in quotations twin flames. There are no experts for twin flames. There are none. Okay?
Theories.
Please do your research. You are the only one that can know. And I'm telling you this right now. Somebody can guide you on the journey, but everything that they guide you on, you can honestly find now on the internet. Okay? It is different. Everyone's twin flame journey is different, just like everybody's purpose here is different. It's the same thing with twin flames, and that's what angered me was there are no actual experts. Those things don't exist. Please don't fall into that, because I actually had it's funny you brought that up. I had two clients tell me, well, I went to a tarot reader who's an expert on twin flames. And I said, no, I don't want to hear it, because she's not an expert on nothing. The fact that she's telling you she's an expert on twin flames tells me she knows nothing, most likely, about them. And she knew nothing, because you know what, Kim? This tarot reader was telling this one client of mine to stay with this person who had repeatedly stepped out of the relationship and had brought home something that required her to go on medication to make it go away. But
Oh,
this tarot reader said, well, it's your twin flame and he's got to work through the. No,
well, let him go work on his
no.
own stuff and just become a normal human
That's what,
being, and wants to be in a relationship and then come back.
that's right.
Yeah.
No. So this is what I mean. Do not jeopardize your health for one, or your mental well-being for someone
No.
else, and be careful of the experts in quotations of twin flames. There are none. I don't care. Even if they have a PhD, they are not experts. It's the same thing. It's like how certain people say that they're experts on God or Jesus, and they are not.
Yeah. There's too many people, like,
Yes.
even when like I'm a paralegal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's people who you have to work under a lawyer. So in Alberta, anyhow, you
Yep.
can't. It's different in Ontario. There's like their
It
own
is. Yep.
thing because they're
Yep.
law clerks and things like that.
Yep.
Here, they're paralegal, legal assistant, but they're people who will just go and throw up a shingle and I can do your wills, I can do this, I can do that. Well, okay, maybe you can do it, but if something happens, you don't have insurance.
That's it.
You don't have anybody to protect you. You're really screwed. So, and it's the same thing with mediumship. Like in the UK, they expect like you have to have insurance. I don't know about the States. Here, they don't require it. There should be, because same
Absolutely.
thing. It doesn't matter your intentions. You never know how someone's going to take it, and
Mm-hmm.
to be paying people money, and relying so heavily on their advice, if and very likely they're wrong, or putting you into a dangerous situation, there's nothing saving you. You are
Yep.
opening yourself wide open, to just so many different things, and you don't know. And I'm really hoping that if you have seen somebody, that they're the people you've seen or have good intentions, but you don't know, they could have a whole list of other people that, well, here, talk to this person, because it could be like a whole group of people who, like, okay, well, maybe you need to see this person because now suddenly you've got an attachment, whatever, like we've talked about it, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yep.
they
Yep.
can
Yep.
get it all going, right? And you just have to be very careful. Very,
No,
very careful.
you're right. You're right. Um, you're absolutely right. It's the twin flame thing has been amplified, um, and they use the subtext of that it's such a transformative love, and it's your other half, and it is. It's transformative love, and they are your other half. 100%. But So many people go into these connections assuming that they've met their twin flame, and it excuses behavior that then diminishes their self-worth or their peace, and the most important thing, their mental and emotional stability for months or years. That's the part that is toxic and scary. That's the part that breeds obsession, because then they're going through these things and they do know that it is wrong. They do know that the way that this person's treating them in a sense is wrong. But then they also have behind their, those thoughts, the intuition, the knowing that's telling them this is not right. They have those theories about how like the pain is proof that you're in a twin flame connection, because the pain is power, and it keeps people stuck.
Well, that's exactly
And
why you're reaching out to these experts, because the pain, you feel like you're going insane, and it's
yeah,
like,
I will tell you one thing though, no one out there is going to be able to fix or bring you and your twin flame back together if the work is not done. No spell, no tarot card readings, nothing is going to be able to do that until the work is done on your
both
side and on
parts.
his side,
Hmm.
right?
Or hers
That's
and hers,
just
or his and his.
hers and his, yes. And that's another thing. Twin flames are not. I read that. I read that at last year or something, and it was like he or her, he or she or whatever, and I was like, what?
No.
No, and there are twin flames that are platonic.
Yep.
Okay, my twin and I are platonic. Yes, we used to be romantic. Now he and I are platonic, but that's it. That's the path we like chose, and it works amazing for us. It doesn't have to always be romantic, but again, that's something that they breed in the twin flame community, right? It's just people become attached to the idea, and that's what gets scary. Can get scary, you know? Because a twin flame relationship, it's not supposed to pull you away from who you are, but a lot of people get stuck in that phase.
Well, it's meant to catapult you into
Hmm.
your awakening, essentially,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Because there's no question. Um, you don't opt in. It's not like, yes, I would like to now take a twin flame journey to go into my awakening, please.
Yeah.
No, no,
Yeah.
that does not happen.
No.
You have absolutely no control if it's going to happen to you. It just, whatever happens, happens, right?
No. And
And
that's exactly it.
and that's where so many people are reaching to the wrong, or like reaching out basically anywhere for information, because
Oh yeah.
not a lot
Oh,
of people talk
100%.
about it until it's happened to them,
Yeah.
or and then they don't stop talking about it, and then you're just reaching for help, and then a lot of people are just looking at you like you are the craziest person they have ever seen. Like, what on the
100%.
world are you, what is coming out of your mouth, right?
100%. 100%.
And that's a lot of things with anything spiritual or whatever. I've always said I don't tend to believe things unless I have experienced it, right? So, and that's probably not a good way to do it, but
No,
I
but you're working on it.
I'm very discerning. Like, I'm like, that's not really true. Really, you really think? And then I find stuff that's just like, oh my gosh, really? Like, wow.
That's a lot of assumption at work for you.
So that's just, people need to really sit back and think, um, like, where's my life headed? Like, if this was the way it's supposed to be and I'm feeling like this, how is this good for me? Where is
Yeah.
this putting
Don't
me?
excuse the bad behavior. That's basic. Don't
No.
excuse the bad behavior just because, a tarot reader has labeled you a twin flame. They're most likely wrong because only you would know. Don't excuse the bad behavior. That's a very good thing. If you feel like you're in a twin flame connection and you feel like it's getting out of control for whatever reason, like Kim said, sit back and be like, where's this headed?
And if it's emergency room or somewhere
Go.
else, like, just end it, get away. Like, maybe there's something that maybe you will be together at some other time, but your safety, physically, your physical safety, your emotional, your mental safety, those things really need to, you got to keep
Absolutely.
those like right up high,
Top of your list.
because you're already feeling like you're like 6 ways to Sunday crazy. So, you got to pull yourself in and think like, what do I need to do here?
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't feel
It's
like
true.
that. You shouldn't feel like your life is going out of control and you don't know what's going on. You will there, if this is part of your thing, you will, but you don't say, oh, well, this is okay because this is this, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not good. It doesn't get better. Like, no, how do they say nothing changes unless, if nothing changes. So, there's something that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And whatever that is, you need to look out for your safety. You got to, financial. Look out for your financial as well as your
Yes.
mental and your
Oh my God.
physical.
That's such a good point because how many, we talk about this, the scams behind this stuff. Oh, I can fix it. I can bring you back together. Yes, he's your twin flame. Just $3,000 and I will help you. And then the $3,000 goes and then it's like, oh no, there's a massive block because of a third party. I need another $1,000 to get rid of it. No.
Gonna say, and if we could have somebody who would look at us like Chester looks at you while you were just talking, he was just looking at you with all the love. He was just
Yeah.
looking.
Cl- Clingy baby. He
Mm-hmm.
wasn't clingy. When I got him, by the way. I trained him to be an independent dog. Then my kids came home from the summer holidays, and that was the end of that. Biggest baby in the world this dog is now. Anyway, twin flames. No one's an expert. Please don't spend a lot of money on twin flame anything. Nobody can heal you. Nobody can do an energy clearing. Nobody can confirm. Nobody can fix it, but you and them.
Yep.
Okay, so please remember that. And please don't idolize the twin flame journey because Kim and I will tell you right now, it sucks. It sucks a lot of the time. There's nothing to idolize.
No. No, and I don't know that you would
We're
talk to
grateful.
many people that
We're
would be,
grateful.
yeah, like you can be
Of course we
grateful
are.
that you've gone through it, because it does, again, catapult you to places
100%. I
that you
wouldn't be
never
here.
ever want to be.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
it just really,
Absolutely.
because us as human beings,
Hmm.
just in general, our ego, uh, we're protecting ourselves. We're always doing that stuff. So this basically destroys your ego, and that
Yep.
is hella scary.
Oh
And
yeah. Oh yeah.
just pushes you to these things that you would never even like situations that you never would have even imagined. But it's for
No.
good. It's for you to break out of your ego. And once you get to this point with you're having your awakenings or whatever, it's a beautiful place to be.
It's true. It is. It's true. It's just not as glamorous as people say, but it's also not as death defying as people say either. I think there's a good balance in it if you know truly what a twin flame connection is and you move about it in the right way, which is listening to your intuition or your knowing, whatever you'd like to call it.
Absolutely.
All right. Soulmates, are they temporary? Yes, some of them are. It sucks for a lot of people to hear that. But unfortunately, they are. Just like karmics, they are temporary. Just like twin flames, they can be temporary. Everything is temporary in life because life moves with energy and cycles and all that wonderful things. And soulmates come in usually at the right time to teach you a lesson. And it's a lesson full of love. If this person that came into your life and they're teaching you lessons of absolute angst and turmoil and trauma, that's not a soulmate there. Don't push that person out of your life there if you can,
That's an
because that's not a
abusive
soulmate.
relationship.
Yeah, that's a karmic. That's a karmic. But I read something that I really liked, and it's basically I'm just gonna read it. It's like a paragraph. People sometimes believe that if a soulmate relationship ends, it means it failed. But the purpose of many of these connections isn't permanent, it's the purpose of transformation. Some people come into our lives to help us heal, to show us how to love, to redirect us to something else truly amazing, to help us discover what we truly need in ourselves and in our relationships. Temporary doesn't mean insignificant. This is something people have to realize about soulmates. Very true. Very true.
And again, all soulmates are not um, romantic.
Romantic. Yeah. Most of mine are platonic. I had one. I've had one. I'm gonna be 39. I've had one romantic soulmate my whole life. Everyone else, every other soulmate has been platonic, and I'm gonna be honest. I wouldn't change it for the world. I love that my people, my persons that I call are my soulmates. I love it. I love it so much. I wouldn't change it for the world. I had once a client ask me that. They're like, "Oh, really? You don't want a soul? You don't want more soulmates that you've fallen in love with?" And you no, no, because I find that my platonic soulmates, for me at least, because maybe it's my journey, they're very spiritually important to me. Not that my romantic one wasn't. It was in a completely different way, but they helped me with. It was my platonic soulmates really that helped me with my issues of attachment, issues of avoidant attachment, I should say, more than anything else. So I feel like every soulmate in your life, and I've read this before. I read this once, and then I thought about the people in my life that I classify as soulmates, and for me this rang true. So I read once that every soulmate that you've met in your life, every soulmate, it's like there's one common thread that kind of ties them all together, even if they never meet. And I have that. Like, I know for a fact that Kim's one of my soulmates because she has something that a soulmate of mine, that two soulmates of mine also have, and these three don't know each other. They have no, they know of each other, they just don't know each other, but they all have this one thing similar that pushes and helps me, which was very interesting to me. So sometimes if you're unsure about who's a soulmate in your life and who isn't, look for that one common thread. It's sometimes the smallest thing, but that is the one thing that links it, and you're like, oh my God. And I love that. I
Uh,
absolutely love that theory.
and I find, at least, like with the ones I have, these are the only people that I don't feel judged by. I don't, you
Yes.
know, I can tell them ridiculous stuff and I don't feel that they're going to be like, well, I'm not talking to her again, because
Yeah.
you feel like a soul comfort with them.
It's the
And
feeling of being familiar, like
hmm
familiarity there that you can't explain,
yeah.
you know?
And for us,
Like,
like we met on the internet, like over, like, well, it was over a year ago.
yeah.
And
And started talking like we knew each other for like a decade.
like that, yeah. So, um, yeah,
That's also a big one, by the way. That they say that's a sign when you meet someone and all of a sudden it's like you've known first time you meet them, but you've known them for decades and years, even though really it's only been physically in this 3D 5 minutes. That's a sign. And you know what's funny? In the three of mine, yes, that's a sign for me. All three of you, I felt like I had known you since I was like 5 years old.
yeah, it's crazy. And then, it's just, and sometimes in that, it gives you the power to um, push yourself to other things that and to do because it's like they're like um, your support person who only wants the best for you, right?
Hmm.
Uh, and just like this, like, hey, Nikki, you want to do a podcast? What's it about? I don't know. And here we
Sure.
are, 41 episodes
Hmm.
later.
And which also interesting because I mean, for those who've been listening since the beginning, I was asked by two other people to do a podcast before Kim, and I said no, even though they had it all planned out and stuff. And then Kim asked me, and we knew nothing except that it would be about spirituality. And she asked me, and the first thing I was like, yeah,
Yeah, there was
yeah.
no idea. Like
We had
I'd
all we knew
never.
was going to be spiritual. We had no layout or nothing. And Kim asked me, and I said yes to this one, but not to the other two. Um, and no, I've never regretted it. I had somebody ask me that before. I was like, no, I regretted it. Get out of here. Anyway,
It's fun.
um, I think that the reason why people sometimes get scared when they meet a soulmate romantic, that it will go away is because we have this fear of loss. Like as a society, we don't want to lose things. We don't want to go through pain, and we don't want to go through heartache, and we don't want to go. We don't. Trust me, guys. Kim and I have went through very intense breakups.
Oh
They
yeah.
suck. We're with you. We don't want to go through them ever again either. But it's life. Um, we don't like to think that somebody that we love so much and so strongly is ever going to leave us and we're going to go through that pain, but we miss the point that sometimes there's something so like beautiful when a connection, or when like we realize that not all soul connections are meant to last forever. There is something beautiful in that if you really take your time to look at it. That some just fade out naturally, and they do, and then some make a graceful but final exit. All of them will leave a lesson behind. All of them. And it's a lasting lesson, meaning that you're going to think about this person years later when something similar pops up. They're always going to be around similar situation throughout the years or decades, even if you guys stop speaking. There's something beautiful about that, about some people only being in our lives for a book or a chapter, because soulmates will always leave you better than when they found you. If they don't, karmic.
And, and just because you don't have a spark right away doesn't mean you can't work on something.
Oh,
You
100%.
know, if you have lots in common and you have a lot of similar stuff, that's what it is to get to know somebody and to, form some kind of a bond. You do or you don't, right? But
Mm-hmm.
it life, people need to stop treating life as like ramen noodles, right? Like you can, oh, hey,
I
I'm
love
hungry.
that.
And then, here's your noodles and it's really okay. Yeah, it's good. And you can put good things in it, but really it's devoid of any nutritional value. It's high in salt, garbage, like nothing in it is really good unless you put healthy things in it. But it's instant, right? Like there's no building up to it.
I love that.
And the only way you can control how a relationship is going to build is if you are building into it. You are putting the ingredients you need and putting it out there mutually with someone else,
I love that.
and then you can build something. And then you got something maybe like a nice stew or, you know, or something
You're
like
making me
that.
hungry.
Yeah.
I didn't eat yet.
But, I think people are just so much like, oh, well, there weren't fireworks the first time I saw them. So, yeah, it's done. Like, okay.
No, sometimes it takes months for there to be fireworks. For in my soulmate connection, it took 6 or 7 months for me to even realize that there was interest there from that side, because I did not even see it, nor did
Clueless.
I think it myself.
Mm-hmm.
I was clueless. And then, to be honest, it took a few weeks after actively seeing and talking to this person for me to feel the spark. And this person means quite a lot to me, even to this day. So I'm telling you, Kim's right. Sometimes we're not paying attention, and there's no spark at the beginning, and then we open our eyes, and then there's a spark. Okay?
Yeah.
Stop looking for the spark. You don't want the spark. It burns everything down.
Just don't expect it just to happen.
Burns out.
And really, again, just metaphorically, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to go into a house on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there's just too much stuff going on because they've got chaos. And
Mm-hmm.
you might be looking for the chaos. You're not looking for
Oh,
the
good.
attachment. Too many people are driven by chaos, drama, the drama llama. You got like there's somebody who's always got something going on. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not really your fault.
Mm-hmm.
It's just if all you've ever been exposed to is drama and chaos, that is you're just intrinsic like that's what you're drawn to. And
Mm-hmm.
so somebody nice and that you get along and there's not that well obviously like that's completely different than what you're looking for. But how have the other ones worked out for you when you have had that?
Point. Very good point. See, something that people miss until later. I feel like people realize that years later. They put the. But you're right. It's again. I'm going to blame social media, but it is everything that we are consuming, all the wrong things we are consuming, wrong things, because there's some things we consume that are great. We are learning things off the TikToks, the YouTube shorts. We are not learning things from books
Oh
anymore,
my
or
gosh. And everybody's an expert. Everybody's an expert on stuff. And it's like,
the
dude,
second someone tells me they're expert, I immediately, you're not an expert in my
yeah.
head. I was like, no. If you're calling yourself an expert, you're not an expert at all.
Especially with like relationships, right?
Hmm.
It's like, dude, are you sure you're like, you look like you just came out of the gym and There's two brain
Yeah.
cells dancing, maybe. Like
I don't
I
know why
don't
they
I
think
don't
that.
think
At
you
least
have the
those ones.
right, you know? And too many people just go, well, they're on TikTok, or well, they say they're an expert, so they must be. No, no.
Stay away from anyone who says that they're an expert.
Anybody can say that.
If somebody says that they're an expert to you, calls them an expert, then maybe listen to not listen to it, but maybe look into it. But if somebody's like, "Well, trust me, I'm an expert," that's when you're like, "Sayonara." Anyway,
All
that's what
right.
I'm like.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Hmm.
let's get to some of our cutesy soulmate type stories. Some of them are funny, some of them are cute, and then we will end this amazing episode with a question. All right, story number one, all anonymous. I went to a fair when I was about 23 years old, and my friends dared me to go to the fortune teller, but of course they did. So I said, okay, fine. I sat down in front of her and she gave me a reading and it was mostly accurate and it was okay. Then she asked me about my love life, and before I could answer, she pulled the card, which looked kind of scary, and said, "Oh, you're single. You've been single a long time. You haven't met anybody in a while." And to that I said yes, because it was true. So the fortune teller then cleared her throat and started shuffling again. As she started to shuffle, she said this: "But the mists are clearing for you. You are going to meet a handsome stranger. I sense that he is kind and a caring man. The spirits tell me he has a well-paid job, something with cool air, maybe installing air conditioning. You know what? This sounds like a lot like my son, honey. Here you go." And she gave me his number. Fast forward 14 years later, two kids, and celebrating our anniversary. Isn't that funny? I love that. I sort of love. Could you imagine that's what you're telling people? A psychic brought us together. Seriously, my mother-in-law, the psychic, brought us together. Okay? So, this is another funny one. I was a senior in high school sitting in math class when my phone went off. I was getting a call from my grandmother, so I answered it. She was having her roof redone at the time, and my parents weren't really available for her, so I answered the call outside in the hallway. She said there was a crew of roofing construction men working on the house, and she was getting a little bit concerned. So I asked her what was wrong. The thing that came out of her mouth in a thick Boston accent was my name and "Get your ass over here right now." This man brought his lovely son to work. He's a hard worker who is home for college for the summer, and he is a good man, and he's the one you are going to marry. I laughed, went back into class. I drove to my grandma's house after the class was over out of genuine personality. I pulled up and I saw him. I was 17, he was 19, and the rest is history. I am 33 and 35. We are on our fourth child and live in Hawaii.
That's a lot of kids.
Yep.
Hawaii's nice, but wow, that's a lot of kids.
Sometimes somebody brings soulmates together. A lot of the times, you know what's interesting? As I said that, I just realized that with me and yeah, that's how it happened with us too. Somebody else introduced us. Somebody else brought us together. It wasn't a meet cute. Very interesting. Anyway, okay. Not necessarily how my grandparents met, but how they got together. My grandma had recently broken up with her boyfriend, and her ex's best friend asked her to hang out for the evening to cheer her up. He had had polio as a kid and had just spent the previous 2 years in an iron lung. He was tired of being confined and decided to just live out what was left of his life without the lung. The doctors had given him 2 years max. My grandma felt sorry for him and announced that she'd marry him and spend that little time left he had with him. They married a few nights later. Yes, he had really been only given 2 years to live. Fortunately for my grandmother, he managed to live 50 more. Yes, they stayed married, and my grandmother had never been happier.
Nice. Did you
I like
say
that.
2 days later they got married? Was
Two
that
days. Because he only had 2 years to live, so the grandmother was probably like, okay, let's get married immediately. And then 50 years later, that's
be
what
like,
happened.
it's like 3 years
Yeah.
now? That was a little speedy.
Yeah, no. Because he had 2 years to live. So she was like, oh, no. Okay. Um, all right. My brother and I took our 3-year-old niece to a toy store for her birthday. I needed to pick something up for her birthday, and then we had a baby shower, so we decided to just go as a big group. My brother was flying a small plastic Incredible Hulk drone that was on display to keep my nurse entertained. The drone got tangled in this random girl's long flowing locks, and she was about to cry. My brother tried to help her get it out. He made it worse. The girl then stopped crying and was getting really pissed off. And that was before my impatient niece got a hold of the controller and tried to make the drone fly while it was still tangled in the girl's hair.
Oh.
Somehow, out of this, my brother got her phone number, a
Oh.
date, and now they're married and about to give me another niece.
Wow.
So, must not been that painful.
No.
If she, yeah. All right. One more, okay?
Hey.
Because I thought it was very cute. My great aunt went to Paris to study art in the 1950s. She sunk into a depression and went out to throw herself into the river. Along came a Frenchman who was fresh out of the Foreign Legion. He talked her off the bridge, talked his way into her heart, and they both moved to Sweden together, where they've been living happily, owning an art gallery and painting together. I like that story.
That's nice.
Yeah. I really like that story. So some cutesy, some heartfelt. There was a lot more. So many people out there willing to share their soulmate stories. It's wonderful. Two of those were my clients' stories, and I think it's lovely. I'm not going to share mine. I don't think Kim's going to share hers. Maybe one day we will. We'll see. We'll see. But I wanted to end this on a very interesting question. Okay, that didn't come from me. That actually came from one of my friends who's also spiritual, like us. She wanted to know, can karmic relationships ever become healthy? I thought that was a good question.
I don't see why not if everybody's doing the work. And I think a really big thing with relationships, at any kind of relationship, anything, until you start, and or I don't know how do you put it, until you get sick of your own BS and start making the changes, you know, you're just as bad as the other people, because most people walk around every day, me, my, you know, and not really integrating other people, or, you know, really caring about other people's feelings. Like, it's crazy. Like, now it's like, you know, let's just people on the internet, whatever, right? So once you actually go and start working on yourself, and the other person is going to see the changes in you, and you might help them realize, you know, where they're falling, and then realize, wow, look at the changes that are happening with them. They seem so good. If I don't change, I'm going to lose them. You know? So yeah, absolutely, any relationship, you know, aside from, you know, there's certain stuff, and I'm not talking like these, you know, if you've been with someone for like so many years and you basically checked out for the last 5 to 10 because you just want to be out but you can't. Yeah, no, like, that's done, right? But yeah, if you see yourself and you're willing to make whatever changes, both parties, it absolutely could become healthy.
No, absolutely. Yeah. No, I do agree with that. You know, we have, there's a theory. I don't know how much I believe this theory because, to be honest, I haven't thought about it. But when we decide what families and we're going to be born into, what parents we're going to have, yada yada, there's something I read that a lot of our karmic relationships are actually tied to family members, because we went through what karmic relationships are about, why we need them, why the lessons are painful, and how strong, and you know how we grow as individuals through karmic lessons. I have seen many people heal karmic relationships with their parents, with their siblings, with aunts, uncles, with grandparents, whoever it is. I have seen them heal it. Like Kim said, through the work. Therapy is a big one. And then once healed, everything is okay for years and years and years, or until that person passes away, whatever. I have seen it many a times in my own family, actually, and I've also seen it with really close friends that I've known for decades as well. I've seen them heal these relationships which are so obviously karmic and hostile at one point, but if you're willing to put in the work and you're willing to learn, absolutely can they be healthy. It doesn't mean that they're going to stop being karmic, because they technically can't, but they're not going to be as hostile.
You got to put your pride in the pocket, right? Like you got to
Oh
decide,
Lord, yes.
do you want to have a relationship, or do you want to be right?
I did not say anything, and I let that pause in there because that's something that people really need to think about in any relationship in your life. As somebody who loves to say I'm always right, I will be the first one to pause, even though I say I'm always right, as Kim says, because I usually am, like 99% of the time.
But, you know, if you want to have a relationship with someone, you got to let other, you got to take on other people's ideas and see, just because you're not adamantly, attacking them about their ideas, doesn't that doesn't mean that you're okay with, or that you agree. People can have very beautiful relationships and have different views on things.
100%.
They just need to be respectful that yes, we have different views, but I still care about you, and doesn't make you a bad person, doesn't make me a bad person. Just all of our building blocks of life up to this point, this is why we have these views.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
be willing to not keep yourself so pride in your pocket that when you kind of go, you know what, actually they are right. Maybe this wasn't the way to do it. To actually do that instead of even get madder and then starting a big fight. So then, because that's what people do, right?
Yeah.
They'll just be like, their pride will be kind of hurt, even though they're
Yeah.
the only one who knows. And then they'll just blow up the relationship because, well, hell,
Yeah.
no one's going to know that I was wrong. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want them to know I was wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. Like, just understand that these are people. These are human
Yeah.
beings here. Same things. People go,
Mm-hmm.
I challenge somebody to bring me a perfectly raised, super happy, everybody was wonderful, Hallmark card, person,
Mm-hmm.
and say, here, this is like the perfect person. Because there is none. So your opinions, your thoughts, those are all built from your life.
I was looking for this quote. I can't find it. I thought I had it. It was a quote about something that you said about that. About, I'm dropping everything today. About, sorry, Chester. That it's not worth to be right. There are times it's not worth to be right, even when you know that you're right. Right? I'm actually really glad you brought that up, because I feel like it is very, very important, especially when we're in these intense connections, especially ones that we deem soulmates or twin flames that we're working through and we're working on. And we want them to stay in our lives. It's not worth it at times to be right.
And
You have to pick your battles, in a sense.
you got to be willing to be vulnerable, because
Mm-hmm.
you can't expect a relationship to build if you're not willing to be vulnerable and they're not willing to be vulnerable. That's just, it's not going to go anywhere.
No, it's very true. It's very true.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. We hope you enjoyed this episode, I should say. We had a lot of fun doing it. It's part 2 of our Soulmates, Twin Flames, and Karmic episode, celebrating our 40th episode of the Spirit Cafe Sessions podcast.
It's 41.
Yeah, 41, technically 41 because it's part 2. But still, we are super glad you guys could join us. We hope that you love this episode. Please do like it, share it, comment, follow, subscribe, all
The
of
little
that.
bell.
Hit Kim's bell.
Hit the
Yes,
bells.
up there, hit
Kim's
it.
bell.
I always call it Kim's bell. Because the first 20 episodes, you're like, hit the bell, hit the bell.
Hit it. Hit the dingy thing. And then they'll show up. But please
Absolutely.
comment, like, go on Spotify, give us 5 stars. We've been doing
Yeah,
this for a while.
absolutely.
Give us 5 stars.
Yeah, give us 5 stars. Very interesting. Which episodes are popular on YouTube and which episodes are popular on Spotify? It's like so different. It's polar opposite. It's so interesting to me. Anyway, just had to throw that in there.
And I don't know if anybody has caught this yet, but I started doing I think I'm on week
Series.
3 of doing a series that I started at the beginning of May, and
Hmm.
it's just different little topics that I kind of do a little bit of a short thing on TikTok. It's on TikTok. I don't know. I
Hmm.
think Nikki's going to be moving it
I'm
to
moving it on
YouTube.
YouTube this week. I was supposed to do it last week, but things got insane,
Yeah.
so I'm moving it this week.
And those are just short little things that I feel that, might be little tidbits that might resonate with you. So please
Or
interact with
resonate.
them, because if there's things that, resonate with you and you maybe want to deep dive into, or comments, like, I can say stuff, and if it resonates with you, your story needs to be heard. People love to hear how it resonates with other people so that they can feel like they belong to something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
So
Okay,
just want
guys.
to thank you.
Thank you for joining. Hope you guys liked it. We will see you next week for a brand new episode. And I hope you guys have a phenomenal week ahead of you.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.